On the last episode, we put together the Zumspot digital radio hotspot. On this episode, we'll continue the two-part series and show you the step-by-step configuration to get this unit on the air. Before we do anything else, we're going to make sure that the Raspberry Pi power's on. So let's apply power. And you'll see that the Zumspot's lights flash and there is power. However, there is one thing that we need to do. Earlier in the video, I think I mentioned that the Pi Star image came preloaded on the SD card. That is not the case. So we have to actually do that. I'm going to take the power off. I'm going to pull the SD card out of the Raspberry Pi Zero. And I'm going to use this SD card adapter because my MacBook Pro happens to have the larger SD port. So we'll put it in there, make sure that the lock is not turned on, and we'll go to the computer. Okay, we're at the computer, so you're going to need two things to actually do this image. The first is you're going to need to go to pistar.uk. and you're going to need to download the most recent image for the Raspberry Pi version 3.4.13.23. This is going to change as they update Pi Star. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the download there. Even though you may have a Raspberry Pi Zero, do not download this this Orange Pi 01. You want to get the actual Raspberry Pi. If you look at your hardware and it's got the Raspberry logo, you want the RPi image. While that's downloading, you're also going to want to go to etcher.io. Again, that's etcher.io. We'll put links down in the show notes, but you want to download this as well.
Would you like coffee?
Yeah, I was going to come out as soon as I finish this.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. At first, I couldn't tell if you were talking to somebody or something happened over.
No, I was doing some recording for the kit build.
Really? Let's move this way so you don't hurt anything on Daddy. Come on, Mommy's going to start the coffee maker. I know you didn't do it on purpose. Come on.
Through the magic of video download, we have the image and etcher both downloaded. So now we're going to find that image on the PC and just make sure that it is there. I happen to be doing this on a Mac, but you can do the same thing on Windows. There is Pi Star Raspberry Pi, and there is the image, so we should be good to go. Now we can launch Etcher and actually do the burn. Alright, so now we verified that the image file is on the computer. We can select, or click on Select Image. Etcher is going to bring up a file dialog box, so we are going to go to the folder that we stored the image in. And then we're going to select the drive that we want to image. This step you want to be very careful of. You want to select the SD card reader. You do not want to select your hard drive or any other sparse bundle. In this case, my PC is doing a Time Machine backup, and that's the reason for the sparse bundle. But make sure you have the green check next to the SD card. We'll do that, and then we'll hit Flash. It's going to ask you for your password on a Mac, and if you're on Windows, probably say that it requires elevated privileges. Once you enter your password or give it that permission to move on, then you can watch Etcher do its thing. It's going to image the SD card, so it's going to write the Raspberry Pi operating system to the card. Then it's going to actually do a verification. Alright, through the magic of video, we have the image burned onto the card, and we can put it in the Raspberry Pi. So we can go ahead and remove it from the computer and head over there. Alright, so I'm going to remove the SD card out of the adapter and place it in the Raspberry Pi and see what we get when we power it up. So we'll make sure that the card is in the slot all the way, and then we'll apply power. Alright, we have a power light on the Zumspot. Unfortunately, there's no other power lights or activity lights on the Raspberry Pi. As I move it around here, I don't see anything on the case other than the power light for the Zumspot, which is unfortunate. Oh, there are lights on the back of the Pi. There is a green light, so we'll have to see what that means. That's the first time I've seen that. That did not come on before. So, if we go back to the computer, let's see if it actually is booting or doing anything else. Once the Raspberry Pi boots up, you will see a Pi star set up in the network list. So you're going to click on that, and you're going to enter the password Raspberry. And once you do that, you'll be connected to the access point on the Raspberry Pi and the Zumspot. So then all you have to do is open your browser and go to http://pi-star.local. Once you hit enter, you'll receive a website that should come up and say, hey, I'm not sure which mode I'm supposed to be in. You need to configure me. If you've waited a long time and the Pi star hasn't come up, so you're at a blank website or it's just spinning and churning, there is another way to access it. What you can do is, if you're on Windows, open a command prompt and type in ipconfig, ipconfig, and press enter. If you're on a Mac, go up to your Wi-Fi network, make sure that you're on the Pi star setup just to be safe, then open Network Preferences, then click on Advanced, then on TCP. You'll see that the router is listed as 192.168.50.1. So if I do that, that dashboard screen comes up. This is normally what you would see if you did that Pi star-local. I'm not sure why it didn't come up on this one, but that's okay. Now it's going to ask you for a username and password. You're going to type in pi-star and then Raspberry and click on Login. You'll now see all of the appropriate information for the configuration. We want to make sure that we're set to MMDVM host. You can change the name of the device to your whatever name you want to do it. I happen to be on a Ratatouille character kick, and I am going to call this one, I believe it's Gusto. Or Gaston, sorry. Gaston. We're going to call it Gaston. We're going to set my call sign to the call sign to W8 UFO, but you would put yours in there. The frequency that you actually want to use, and that's going to vary based on your band plan in your area. In this case, we're going to enter 431.025 megahertz, and it's going to ask you for your latitude and longitude. There's a number of different ways you can get that. The easiest perhaps is to go to Google and get it from there. I happen to know that mine is this, so I'll enter that in. And you can put any URL in there. It would be the URL of your access point or your your access point or your website. I'm going to just put mine as w8ufo.net, and we're going to come down here and look for the radio type, which is going to be Zumspot, Raspberry Pi Hat, or we could also choose Zoom Radio MMDVM. So let me take a look at what we have here. And this is Zoom Radio, so we're going to select Zoom Radio MMDVM for Pi Hat. We'll put the node type as public, and then we're going to set the time zone as New York. America's New York is what we're looking for. There it is. The voice is going to be English US. I'm going to leave everything set to private down here. Auto AP is on because we want to be able to configure that as needed. I'm going to choose Apply Changes. And once those changes have been saved, the services will be stopped and started. And now we can verify that the modem information is correct. We don't have any sort of display on there, but now we can turn on various modes. So I want this to actually do DMR and Yaesu Fusion. I'm not going to worry about any of the other modes. These are gateways. Yaesu System Fusion to DMR, Yaesu System Fusion to NXDN, Yaesu System Fusion for P25. I'm not going to do any of those. We're going to leave everything else the same. I have a DVAP, so we're not going to do D-Star here. And we're just going to verify that the general configuration looks good. And here, it did change the audio modem type, so we're going to, or radio modem type, so we're going to reselect it. And we'll choose Apply Changes. And you'll see here that, of course, it does the same thing all over again. So we'll make sure that things look good. And now we get some additional configuration screens. For instance, the DMR configuration. We can choose a DMR master. We can choose Brandmeister, or DMR Plus. I do have Brandmeister set up, but I'm going to choose DMR Plus because I actually want to see if I can connect to some friends in the Chicago area. I'm going to choose DMR Plus USA Florida. I was looking for USA Wisconsin, and for some reason I'm not seeing it there. DMR color code information should be okay. We don't have any sort of embedded display or anything like that. For Yaesu Fusion startup host, I'm going to change the APRS to a US host. And that should do it. So let's see what we get here. We'll apply the configuration one more time. And there we go. We do need to set up some wireless. So I'm going to go ahead and configure Wi-Fi. Click on Scan for Networks. And you can see all of the networks that are available. I'm going to choose the Wi-Fi with the better signal strength. And then I'm going to enter the shared key. We'll save and connect. Tell it not now. And I still see the Pi-Star network there. Okay, so I added the network, but I'm not sure what's happening here, whether it saved the network or not. Let's do a configure Wi-Fi. That may have disconnected us. Yeah. So now we need to figure out what network it is actually on. Let's just make sure we're actually connected to the internet, and we are. I still see the Pi-Star setup there, which makes me a bit leery. Let me turn off the Wi-Fi. I'll turn it back on. Oh, and we're connected right back to it. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, look at that. We need to do some more configuration. I need to actually give it my DMR ID. And again, anytime you click on Apply Changes, it's going to restart services and kick it back to the dashboard. I also see that it changed my voice back to English. And let's go back to the dashboard. And there we go. So I need to figure out what's going on with the Wi-Fi and why that didn't work. So we'll go back into the configuration, go all the way down to the bottom for Wi-Fi. We'll click on Configure Wi-Fi. It has the network there, but it's not connected. So I'm going to re-enter the shared key and see if that fixes the problem. And there we go. So we should be good to go. I'm going to do a reboot, and we'll see if we can see it on the regular network. After the power reset, it came up on my regular home network, and I am in business. It's showing that DMR and Yaesu System Fusion are both enabled, and the network status is green. So it is up and running. There are a couple of other things that we need to do for this. We're going to go back into configuration, go to update, and make sure that everything is up to date. Excellent. Shows that the update is finished. And if we go back, we can now see that we have the June 5th dashboard. We can also go into the admin section of the access point, and we can see that everything is ready to roll. And this is pretty slick. You can see that Yaesu System Fusion actually just came up with a call sign, and the radio beeped in the background that Yaesu System Fusion had activated. I'm actually going to go to update one more time, and we are there. We can actually go into the expert mode and actually do an upgrade. So we're going to do that right now. We probably should have taken a backup of the Pi-Star configuration. It did do a Pi-Star update. So let's hit upgrade one more time just to make sure we have all of the stuff that we needed. It looks like we're a couple versions behind, and now we're on the latest and greatest software. And it looks like we're good to go. We're on the latest dashboard and the latest Pi-Star version. The node is ready to rock.